of who I think or who I believe the guy in the Iron Mask could be. So if you remember at the beginning of the last episode, you see Hunter Zolomon's story of his origin story. So you get to see Hunter Zolomon's dad put the hat that looks a lot like the hat that Jay Garrett wears on top of his son's head. So to me, that kind of tells me that rather he knew Jay Garrett, or he might have known someone who is related to Jay Garrett, which I'll go into in a bit. Okay, so we know that in season 1, Eddie Thawne got sucked into the vortex to actually stop the Reverse Flash from defeating Team Flash in season 1. So Zoom might have grabbed him as he got sucked into the vortex. So my first person who it may be, right, would be Eddie Thawne. Because we know that Eddie is actually on Earth 2. So we've seen Earth 2 Eddie. But we don't actually know what happened to Earth 1 Eddie. Other than, yes, he died. And yes, he got sucked into the vortex. But we don't actually know where that vortex actually took him. Okay, so we know that when Barry went through the Speed Force to get to Earth 2, we see a couple of different things. We got to see, for instance, we got to see Gorilla Grodd. We also got to see Supergirl, which we know that he had the crossover, the Supergirl Flash crossover. That came true. And we also got to see the old school Flash. So that makes me actually believe that Zoom may have gone back through time to collect the old school Flash's speed, put him in the cage, put a mask on him, and that's one of the reasons I'm guessing he couldn't escape from the cell, because obviously Zoom's extracted all his speed, so now he's just like a normal person. He's mortal and he can't really do much. Okay, so we know from Hunter Zolomon's origin story that Hunter's dad made him stand there and watch whilst he killed his mum. So that would make you, well, that would make anybody that little bit crazy. So we now know that it all started from a young age. So that makes me think that he got his dad, he wants to get all the speed that he can, and then he wants to prove to his dad, actually, you're not really a hard man. I'm a hard man. I'm the guy with all the power, and now I'm actually going to show you what real power actually feels like. So, you know, he's basically kidnapped his dad, and he's been searching for the best way, I guess, to defeat his dad. And he wants to collect all the speed he can, and then I believe that in the end he will actually wipe his dad out by phasing his hand through to his heart, and more than likely ripping it out, the same way that I'm guessing his dad ripped out his heart when he made him stand there and actually watched him execute his mum. Okay, so my next one is a little bit crazy, but I believe it might be him. You got to see quite a few. So another one I'm actually going to throw out there is, what about Wally West? Now, yes, I know, I can hear it already. Everyone's saying, Wally's not Wally's not white, Wally's black. Okay, I get that. But what if he was taken from a different Earth? Maybe Earth 2, Earth 3, or even Earth Prime. And something on that Earth actually happened to Wally's skin. He had some kind of accident, and I don't know, something happened to his skin. You never know. Like, that could be the biggest kicker, that it was actually Wally West the whole time, and it wasn't anybody else. So it wasn't the old school Flash, it wasn't Eddie Thorpe, it was Wally West, right? So I know what you're gonna say, yeah, it sounds a bit ridiculous, but hey, that's one of my theories of who it might actually be. So my next one's a little mad, yeah, I know, but I'll say it. What if it's Barry Allen, aka The Flash? Now, we do know that the Flash in the future disappears in a crisis. Now, what says that Cisco's doppelganger, Reverb, didn't actually open up some kind of time portal for Zoom to zip into, set future Barry up, bring him back to Earth 1, suck out all his super speed, stick the iron mask boop over his face, and slap him into the cage? You know, it wouldn't surprise me, because it's possible. He could go back in time, and he can go forward in time. So that would make me think that maybe it could be Barry Allen, the same guy who disappeared in the crisis, hence is why the Flash has disappeared in the future. Okay, so I'm just going to put this one out there, and obviously you guys can tell me if you think that I'm completely and utterly mad. But the helmet that Hunter Zolomon's dad actually gave him looks a lot like the helmet that Jay Garrick wears. So it made me go back and do basically a little bit of research. And I found out that basically Jay Garrick's dad was called Joseph Garrett, and he actually served in the war. Now, we know that Hunter and Jay would have been the same age, so we know that at that time Jay wasn't a speedster. But what if Jay's dad was a speedster from Earth 2, but not a fully fledged, like, developed speedster, but a speedster nonetheless? Because like I said, we know on Earth 2 it's a little bit darker than Earth 1. So it's a possibility, may not be the right one, but it's something to think about. That could be the link between Jay Garrick and Hunter Zolomon. And it's not actually the two kids what knew each other, but it was the two dads what actually knew each other, because obviously they served in the same war. Now, that just is another little, like, ooh, for people to go and actually look into. But yeah, that is exactly what it is. You know, I believe that Jay Garrick and Hunter Zolomon may have known each other through their dads, because like I said, I know that Joseph Garrett, Jay Garrett's dad, was a soldier in the war. Well, guys, that's all I got for you today. If you like what you heard, give me a thumbs up. If you don't, give me a thumbs down. If you like what you heard, subscribe. Keep watching. If you didn't, don't keep watching. Stick a comment, like I said, in the comment sections down below. If it's negative, perfect. Be a negative Nancy. If it's positive, thank you guys. I'm looking for as much positive feedback as possible. But like I said, that's all I've got today. I'm Drew, aka the Green Arrow. Straight shooting, people.